Well, I'm going to talk about the space that I've selected as my preferred place, and I'm going to do it from the bioclimatic perspective. What is this bioclimatic urban design perspective? It's very briefly a way of trying to find ways of better mediating man and environment, in this case in what concerns to public spaces. Well, one of these days I was talking about this with a friend, and he asked me, bioclimatic urban design, isn't that too simple? I mean, you're an architect, not a gardener. And I said, okay, fair enough. Yes, it's very simple. I could talk to you about bioclimatic urban design can help prevent and keep on building spaces like this. Spaces that in the end are not public spaces because simply people cannot cope with the thermal conditions of that space, either in summer or in winter. Or on the other hand, I could also talk to you about how this discipline can help creating spaces like this. Spaces that, through the wise use of water, vegetation, orientation, proportions, and so on, can help delivering people the conditions to enjoy that space, and consequently to make that space a true public space of social manifestation. But I've decided to take my friend's comments as a real thing to structure the ideas I want to share tonight with you, which is basically about the simplicity of bioclimatic urban design, which ultimately is about the simplicity of design in general. So I started by questioning my own beliefs about bioclimatic urban design. Then it became very clear that there is a massive difference between being simple and being simplicist. So I've chosen a place which I think it kind of illustrates how public space can be simple and at the same time successful. This place is Sant Felip Neri Square at Barcelona, and this is a very small square at the medieval part of Barcelona. In bioclimatic terms, it has shade provided by those big trees, a water fountain, and it has materials with the right thermal, optical, and moisture-related properties. But to begin, next slide please. This is I'm talking too fast. This space is a small space, and yet it accomplishes its function really well. So thinking big and the monumental character of a space is not a guarantee that it will be successful. Bioclimatic urban design is about building small-scale solutions that, when repeated throughout the city, can actually interfere in its global climate and therefore help achieving, for instance, the goal of the sustainable city and the low-carbon cities. This is also a space which is very sober. It doesn't have much visual information. So I believe we do not have to fill the space with objects in an attempt of making it more successful. Bioclimatic urban design is about this. It's looking at the true needs of the space and trying to make the best with simple options. Choosing the right tree, for example, in positioning it on the right space can have a huge interference on the microclimate of the square or any other public space. This space is a robust space, and it's also beautiful, but it's not robust because it's beautiful. It's robust because all these elements are concurrent to one same purpose, which is creating a highly qualified public space where people can actually gather and enjoy. Bioclimatic urban design is also about this. It's about when you choose a vegetation species or a water feature, we're not doing it as a decoration or in an aesthetical way, or at least not only. It's a very technical thing with a very specific purpose. Then it becomes the people. I'm not sure of the extent to which people were engaged in the development of the square, but one thing I know is that this square achieves one of the next goals of these engagement processes, which is a space where people find their place, a place where people can invent and reinvent themselves. Bioclimatic urban design is also about this. Then we have the contemporaneity. So this space is a contemporary space because there is a school. So it ends up working as a public space, as a square, but also as kind of a playground to that school. So bioclimatic urban design is about this, looking at the present. We're not thinking too much about the past. We're trying to accurately predict the future. And then it's a magical space. When I got there for the first time, me and my friends, we were completely astonished. There was kind of an immaterial dimension about this space that surpasses the utilitarian aspect, function of this space. And it's kind of poetic, kind of magic, that ultimately I think it should exist in all buildings, in all public spaces. And basically these were the ideas I wanted to share with you. And doing this exercise of thinking about the simplicity of bioclimatic urban design made me think about a broader question, which is, aren't things eventually much more simple than we tend to suppose? Can't you find ways of thinking a bit less in only technical aspects and to start prioritizing human aspects, magical, poetical aspects that I don't know, I'm not sure the reason why, but seems that have been forgotten in the last decades. I mean, at the end, people will always use public space differently from what we supposed. We have this tendency of trying to predict everything that will happen or that should happen in that space. And this might end up not happening exactly like this. I mean, benches can suddenly become beds, or in the streets, suddenly pavements can become parking places, or lanes can become extensions of terraces, of restaurants. And in festivities, locals can decorate the space in ways that could completely transform the atmosphere that plant that space. So this is basically about this. Can't we develop more this minimum that should be defined for the space to work, to be successful, but work also with this kind of magical unpredictability of social life and of public spaces. So these are the ideas I wanted to share with you. I've shared this space because I think it's simple and it's successful, and also share the bioclimatic thing, which I believe it is a discipline that can highly contribute to the welfare, to the health, and to the happiness of urban populations. Thank you so much.